In November of 2008, the Florida Marriage Amendment, aka Proposition 2, appeared on Florida ballots. It was a proposed initiated amendment to the Florida Constitution. It required 60% majority vote to pass, and it was indeed passed with 62.1% of Florida voters. The amendment, quote, protects marriage as the legal union of only one man and one woman as husband and wife, and recognizes that no other legal union that is treated as marriage or the substantial equivalent thereof shall be valid or recognized, unquote. The reason that this was passed was there were already 2 Florida statutes that prohibited same-sex marriage, but Florida didn't want the same thing to happen to them as Massachusetts had, which was a law was created in Massachusetts banning same-sex marriage, and then a judge overturned it. So the Florida Marriage Amendment included a clause prohibiting judges from overturning the law, trying to make it more permanent. This is not just a Florida issue. 26 states so far in the United States have passed laws banning same-sex marriage. Why? People have a lot of reasons for that, for not wanting gay and lesbian couples to be able to get married. One of the reasons is opponents of same-sex marriage argue that they are protecting the sanctity of marriage. If that were true, divorce would be made illegal. The divorce rate in America is at 60% now. It was 50% not long ago, but it continues to increase. Marriage isn't an infallible union. It might be if we let everybody who loved each other get married, maybe those rates would decrease. The gay and lesbian people who fight so hard to be able to just show their love in a more lawful manner due to marriage, I feel like they would treat it better. It's more important to them, so maybe they would stay married. Another reason people don't want gay and lesbian couples to get married is because we have to protect our children. If gay and lesbians turn their adopted children gay, the logical counter would be that straight couples only reared heterosexual children, and if this were true, there would be no gay people whatsoever, so that argument is pretty flawed, I think. Another reason, people think that homosexuality is unnatural, but we can see homosexual animals in nature in a lot of different species of animals. The German Bremerhaven Zoo had 2 gay male penguins, and they actually adopted kind of a baby penguin chick that was abandoned by its parents, and they released a statement saying sex and coupling in our world don't always have something to do with reproduction. If homosexuality occurs in nature among animals and humans alike, then it is logical then to say that it is natural, I think. Another reason people have is homosexuality is a sin. I'm not going to get the religious debate is a whole nother argument, and I'm not going to delve into that, but I can still say this. The United States of America is a democracy, not a theocracy, and creating laws based off of a religious standpoint is unconstitutional. If we wanted that, we would have stayed in 17th century England. Another reason, children need a female and a male role model to be successful and healthy while growing up. About 1 in 10 homes in the United States, as it is, are headed by a single-parent household. The majority of single-parent households are below the poverty line, as it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But that's not a reason to say that same-sex couples shouldn't adopt children because children need both a male and female, is because a lot of people, I think about 80% of people will be in a single parent home at one time in their life, and 1 in 10 homes right now are single parent. At least with the same-sex parents, the child would receive twice the love and financial stability as with one parent. Since homosexuals are unable to procreate, obviously, if they desire children, they must adopt. With adoption being such a laborious process, it's unlikely that the parents are doing it on a whim or without seriously considering the choice. It seems likely then that the same-sex parents are ready and willing to be caregivers, as with the majority of opposite-sex adopting parents. So they would be good parents, I think. I'm not saying I can judge on each specific person, but gay and lesbian adopting parents, as with straight adopting parents, have to try very hard to go through the process of adopting a child, and I don't see anybody wanting to go through that for just because they kind of feel like it maybe. The arguments that opponents of same-sex marriage produce are often rationalizations for social, political, religious, whatever biases that hold no logical reasoning oftentimes. Same-sex marriage can be simplified down to a concern involving human rights, and some people in power justify there being larger, more complicated concerns involved. But really it should just be about love and freedom of everybody to be able to do what they want. There shouldn't be any second-class citizens. Women have the right to vote now. Black people aren't slaves anymore. I think gay people should have every right as everybody else does. If you have a husband or wife right now, imagine that you were unable to marry them. If you have a boyfriend or girlfriend right now, imagine that you could never marry them if you had the desire to in the future. Imagine that people rallied and wrote hateful messages on pickets and told you were going to hell all because you loved somebody. That seems very strange to me, that love brings hate. I'm not asking, nor do I think that everyone could think the way that I do. I know people will have different opinions on every issue, not just this one. That's beautiful in itself, but I only ask that people who do not support same-sex marriage be honest about why, instead of making rationalizations that don't hold true. If you have some kind of religious standpoint, some kind of social think it's strange, so you shun it, then that should be the reason for why. And then maybe eventually with time people can realize that they are shunning love for their own personal bias and emotion, and maybe someday that can change.